How should you build LR Future Gohan's hidden potential? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are talking about the ideal hidden potential builds for the LR Future Gohan. This is the Part 2 LR of this year's Worldwide Celebration 2023. And I gotta say, this is one of those units where I feel there's not a specifically wrong way to build him. I think there are very, very situational circumstances that may warrant one build over another. So we're going to talk about those builds, and I'll give my best recommendation for his hidden potential in this video. So let's go ahead, let's kick off. Let's start talking about what he does, because what he's doing helps us to understand what his ideal build ought to be, right? Remember that there is a basic rule of thumb for units in hidden potential building, right? Number one, if a unit stacks either stat, attack, or defense, typically you want to go additional. There are some rare exceptions, but in the most case, additionals is the way to go. If a unit doesn't have any crit or additionals in their passive, you may want to go with crit to give them that extra firepower, especially if they have a high attack stat. And more often than not, units with no defense or the defense raise on their super is not nearly enough. You want to go dodge. These are typically your support style units. So given that, this Gohan kind of breaks all of those rules in a sense, being that any one of these is a viable build. So let's look at what he does, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, right? First and foremost, he is raising massively his attack on his 18 key and greatly raising for the turn his defense on his 12 on his 18 key. On his 12 key, he is greatly raising the attack and raising defense, right? So he's got 2.5 attack raise on his 18 key and a double defense raise on his 18 key. Then once he additionals, he'll be getting another 2 times attack raise and a single defense raise. It's kind of nuts when you think about it, especially because of how attacks stack, right? He's getting 100% and then a 50% attack. The dude's insane, to say the least, just on his super attack effects alone. But that's not all he's doing. Remember, he begins with 20% damage reduction, and for every super he does, he gets an additional 20% and launches an additional attack with a 50% chance of becoming a super attack, right? So he also has a guaranteed super attack when he does 20 or more keys. So you have a possibility at 55% of launching 3 supers, right? Raising your defense by 2, or raising his attack by 200% and his defense by 130%. Just on those 3 supers alone. Add into the possibility of a 4th from the hidden potential, and you're talking about what is that? 250% attack raise and a, what is that? 60, 51, 100, over 150% on the defense, right? That's kind of crazy when you think about it. Add into the fact that that's on top of a 40% damage reduction at that point, on top of the fact that for the first 5 turns, he has an additional 40%, provided you've activated his entrance animation, which there are no conditions to, so that'll happen every time he shows up. 80% damage reduction. Post super, we're talking near extra 250% attack and 150% defense. That's if you go additional, right? So the guy is basically unkillable at that point. And then you add into the fact that once you go into his domain, the enemy loses 30% attack and defense. Nothing's touching this guy, right? So the question is, additionals, is that the right way? Yes and no. Like I said, it I personally believe that that is the ideal build to take advantage. 4 supers per turn is really good, especially when you consider he has built-in critical hit. Once you hit the 3rd appearance, right, his domain activates from the 5th turn from the start of turn, which more or less is his 3rd appearance. It'll, as long as you can get 24 ki with him, or you are using his active skill, he will get a guaranteed critical hit. So knowing that he has that possibility, additionals does seem like the way to go given everything that he's doing. But you could also consider a critical hit build, right? Consider this, right? When we look at the hidden potential system, right? If you were to go full additionals, he's only getting 15% additional, which translates to 30% extra additional for him, on top of that, right? So you have basically a 30% chance to launch a 4th super with him, and possibly more if you add in skill orbs, and this is at minimum 79%, right? Where you can activate all of the combo attack skill trees. Now if you go critical hit, you'll get a 20, right? If you go full critical, you'll get a 20%, which translates to 40% in addition to whatever skill orbs you give him. Now, this could be helpful in these shorter fights, like the newer Dismal Future Red Zones, where you want to get rid of the enemy quicker and not drag the fight out to a degree, right? So if that is your goal, then critical hit may be the best option for him. So that way you can ensure that Gohan is critting even when not in the domain. So either option is viable. I think for critical hit over combo attack, it really more comes down to the event you intend to use him in and the partners you intend to run him with, right? Typically when you're running this guy, you may want to run him next to the Sword of Hope Trunks or like the Future Gohan, both of whom would benefit from, well, one of whom, I should say, benefits from Gohan going the additional route in that he won't deal as much damage, allowing Trunks to build in slot 2 where he would want to be. On the other hand, Future Gohan would benefit from LR Future Gohan having critical hit in that the first couple of turns he's around, you kind of want to avoid some attack unless you're below 58%, in which case Gohan, being able to clear the enemy faster so that Gohan in his base form doesn't get touched is obviously more beneficial. So really either build critical hit over combo attack is it's situational and dependent on who you intend to run him with and what events you intend to run him in. Now, what I do think is an ideal build for him, right? I'll give my kind of personal preference, would be if you have dupes in him, to go combo attack, additionals, and evasion, right? Take advantage of the additionals and then go evasion in his secondary slot. In his secondary slot, you'll be getting 11 additional, which translates to 11% additional evasion. This is helpful, and again, this is assuming 79%. Cut that in half to 6 if you're only 69%, and 0 unless you've got skill orbs at 55%. But that would be an ideal build for him, because then you get to take advantage of the additional attacks, which increase his damage reduction on the off chance you don't dodge the super on the 11%, right? If you increase it via skill orbs, obviously you're helping yourself more. Now, the reason I say evasion might be helpful for him is, remember, he doesn't get that damage reduction until he's super, so pre-domain, that's actually kind of dangerous for him. He can get caught if he hits a super from the enemy before he attacks. So evasion might help you in that situation. So I could see evasion being a good build for him. I don't think full dodge is the right way to go for him, but some dodge would definitely be helpful in addition to the combo attack, since he does have that built-in crit, and by the 3rd appearance, you're probably ready for it anyway. So, anyways, guys, that is our video. That is the ideal hidden potential build for LR Future Gohan. Again, this is just my opinion, what I think is best for him, how I would personally run him, but I would love to hear in the comments how you guys would run Future Gohan. What is your ideal build for this character? Again, he's one of those characters, I don't think there's a specifically wrong build for him. I think there's an argument to be made for either additional crit or evasion. It all depends on the situation and how you intend to use them. But I would love to hear in the comments your ideal builds. Let me know in the comments down below. So anyways, guys, that's the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, don't forget to let me know your ideal build. And if nothing else, guys, thanks for watching and aloha.